Hey, happy Tuesday, everyone. It's Lisa from the Tattered Willows, here to do officially our first Christmas project. I'm on my computer too, so I can see who's on here and any comments that you may have. So when you hop on, please say hello and let me know where you're from, if this is your first time catching a live. And if you are catching it on replay, put hashtag replay. And of course, I always appreciate a good sprinkle during the live to share it with others, okay? So they can learn about us. So I was kind of rushing this evening. I was in Columbus yesterday and until this evening. I literally got home like 20 minutes ago, so I'm a little out of breath. Imagine that. And tried to change my clothes, and fortunately I had everything ready because before I went to Columbus I did take a picture and stuff so that I could post for my project. So what we're going to do today, as I alluded to not so quietly, was we're going to do a double-sided Christmas project. So everything we're using tonight is from Chalk Couture. Got a variety of paste colors here. And I've got 2 transfers, my handy dandy tools. And then today we're going to use the 9x12 box frame. If you guys recall, we used a box frame. Did we use a box frame? No, that was the pallet board last week. Okay, so this box frame is so nice. It's a great weight. It is wood. Comes in this box. They even put protective corners on the frame, which is kind of cool. So it's 2-sided. One side is a natural brown, and you can see it's got this nice 1/2-inch wood frame around it. Then this side is the whitewash, the farmhouse whitewash finish on it. And we're going to do something on both sides. Okay, so we're going to be doing Peace on Earth and Mercy Mild. I'm going to put this on the brown side, and then we're going to do this one. You may be thinking, well, I see 2 separate transfers. We're going to do them both. We're going to layer. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to do, what am I going to do, y'all? If you've seen me before, you know, I'm going to lightly sand this board. Grab my sanding block, and I'm just going to go a little bit around the outside to kind of, I see a few like hairs, so to speak, on the edges of the brown frame. So I'm going to break those down. You can see the dust on there. And I'm going to do around here as well, since we're going to be using both sides. And I'm not pressing hard. I think this sandpaper block is probably, I think it's a 120, I want to say. And which is rougher than like I would, but it's been well used. Okay, so again, please say hi when you get on here. And I am going over the flat surface as well. Again, because I just like that finish on it. And take a little wipe. And I'm not going to it's already moist. It's just, all right. And it's not going to hurt the wood at all or anything. So how's everybody's work week going? I see a spot there that I wanted to do and missed it. Okay. So I think what we'll do is we're going to do the first layer on the white, and then we'll come back, we'll do the other side, and then we'll come back and do the layered part for the Oh Holy Night. So this board, everything that I'm using, I'll put a link up after the live along with a finished picture of our project. And I know I have my page out here. Oh, it's right here. And then as well as the link to all the products that I'm using tonight, and to my cart And should you decide that you want the items in this project, you can go right on there and order it. And you can adjust those cart links. You know, I'll be putting in like probably be full jars of paste, but there might be, I know some of the colors we had like sample size, which is really nice because you don't need a whole lot. But otherwise, you can edit the cart just like any other shopping cart on any site that you use. So again, please say hello when you jump on. Let me know you're here. Oh, I see Caitlin and Hannah. Hi, guys. I'm just doing a very fine coating of our surface wax. So this just helps kind of protect it's not really protecting the wood per se. It's really more to protect our design once we put it down. The wood is porous and the transfers are going to stick really well to it, which is good, but we want it to be able to come up without bringing all the paste back up with it. So I'm just going to do both sides. I'm not using much. I think I've had this, I don't know how long I've had this jar. Probably like, I don't know, 6 months at least, if not longer. Because like our chalkboard type surfaces, you don't have to wax. I don't think I posted yet. I did a huge thing for my mantle. I had this old antique mirror that somebody gave me, and I did a Halloween transfer on it. It's huge. I don't think I posted that, so I'm gonna have to post that. I'll try to do that tonight too. It's huge. Looks so cool. And I'll do a picture of it up on the mantle too, so you can see how I designed with it. So again, I'm not putting much. It might seem like I keep doing it. It's because I'm using a little at a time, and I'm just kind of, you know, wax on, wax off, get that nice smooth surface. So I thought I might paint the frame on this. I'm not 100% sure. I think I'm just going to leave it natural. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe painting it black, and I was just going to use my black paste for it, and that's why I have this brush out. This is a brush set that comes, remember those other tools I used a couple nights ago? It was like the little like eraser looking tool, and then that thing to kind of touch up the paste and stuff. Well, this is in that kit brush set too. It's like a mini brush tool set, and I was going to paint with it, but I'm not going to. I think I'm going to leave it natural. So let's go ahead. Y'all, I just realized my glue gun's been plugged in for like 2 days. It's like, oh, it's my glue gun. Oops. Not like that's a fire hazard or anything, right? Shaggy. Okay. So I want to use my scissors to cut this transfer. You see it's, so this is a C size transfer. What is this? This is like 12 by 18. So it's our C size, and this is called Oh Holy Night, and it's one of our new ones for Christmas. I love it. And that's like literally the music. Can you guys see it? Including the words. So it's gorgeous. Last year they retired a big one for Joy to the World. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful just by itself. So really, it's like you got the seaside transfer, but you got 2 different transfers, so you could use them in different ways. They don't have to be done together. You could use one part, not the other, or use this part, not this one. Being that this is a new transfer and it's going on wood, I do want to fuzz it because I don't want to fight it in my effort to pull it back up. All right. Had this all thought out. Yes, I can keep going. So we're going to pull that down. We're going to save our backer sheet that the transfer's on. You'll see when you pull these off, there's 2 sides. There's a shiny side and the dull side. So when after we wash our transfer and we go to put it back on the backer sheet, we put the sticky part of the adhesive of the backer sheet. Okay. Hey, Cindy. Glad you're here. All right, so I'm just putting this transfer on and getting a little bit of fuzz. And this is our fuzzing cloth. I'll put it in the cart too when I send out the cart link, but again, you can edit the cart. You can use your shirt. You can use a dish towel. So this is going to fit perfectly in here because of the finished edge of the frame and the finished edge of this. So it's kind of like wallpaper as far as putting it down, and you want to smooth it out and get the air bubbles out, because if you have a lot of air bubbles, you're going to get some bleed of the paste underneath there. There was a piece of like something that must have been on my fuzzing cloth. That is something you obviously want to check. I still have my very first one when I first started doing Chalk Couture. I still use it. I think this is the first time I've used this one. So my other one, I've literally used for a year. I've washed it and you can reuse it. I would think, being the fabric that it's made from, you probably don't want to put it in fabric softening. How some of those cleaning things, they say don't put it in like dryer sheets or whatever. Okay, so it feels like I got that down really good. So the color I chose to go with, because I want the Oh Holy Night to be in black and I wanted it sparkle. So I'm going to use this. This is a new color for, hi everybody. Say hi and let me know where you're from. So this is our Forest chalk paste, new color this season. It's so rich, and greens are really popular right now for this season, all shades. So like your blue green, your forest green, and it's such a, yeah, it's new. I haven't used it yet. Oh, it's so pretty. And it's one of those greens, it's a cool green I can see looking at it, so it would really pick up the blues if you wanted to go that route with it. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so gonna just get my squeegee. I think I'll use my bigger one here. It'll make it go a bit quicker. This is our large squeegee. I'm gonna take off what's stuck on my, I gotta be careful on my mat because you know what? I'll get it on my project. Throw that away and wipe it off my hand. And it's not going to take much, y'all. So I'm just kind of splotching this on here for my squeegee. When you want to make sure when you actually go to, I mean, it's not going to be the end of the world if you don't use the beveled side, but if you see the side is beveled there, that just helps push it through that much easier. Okay. All right. So we're going to, and I'm only going to be careful on the edges on the top there. I kind of got the edge of the transfer here on the board. See, I knew I would do that. Got paste on my finger and touched my frame. Let me wipe my hands again, you guys. So I don't have to worry about pushing the paste this way. I will want to be careful as I go to the other way, or if I was pushing my paste top to bottom. But I'm going to go side to side to help minimize that. If you were doing something and the transfer didn't cover that wood frame for you, you could always just put like painter's tape or our transfer tape down on it. Or not transfer tape. Yeah. No. I'm having a brain fart. Okay. So I think I got my hands clean so I don't get that all messed up. All right. I want to get this down. So Christmas, Christmas, heck, I can't believe it's already the end of October. It's funny when you go into the stores, isn't it? Like you see Halloween stuff, which is like practically all gone, and some, you know, fall Thanksgiving type things. And then right there's Christmas coming in large right beside them, right? Okay. Now, ideally, like when I took that break to wipe this off, obviously I needed to do that so I didn't get it all over my frame. But you don't want to, like, you know how I started putting the blobs of paste down and then paused? You want to try to avoid that because it's going to start to dry. And if it dries inside that mesh silk screen, it's going to pull up. I can see an air bubble there. It's going to pull up when I go to take it off, and then it might pull off the paste from that we transferred through the mesh silk screen. Now there are ways to try to help remedy that if you find that's happened. I could tell there's something, maybe a little bit of dust that I didn't get wiped off all the way when I after I sanded it. And I don't want to leave any more paste on here, excess, as much to, you know, why waste it? And then be just more I have to clean off afterwards, right? Well, you guys, I am really struggling with that. Let me put this back on before I stick my hand in it again. And then we're gonna get the corner, hold the surface, and pull that up. Yeah, that one spot bled like I could tell it was going to. But that's okay. I can fix it if I want to, or I could just leave it and not worry about it. It's gonna have this other pattern over top of it, so it may not even be an issue. Okay, see right there, there was an air bubble, and I think, see right there, it's a little bit of a bleed, but look how crisp that is. I mean, we could put this on a piano and start playing. If only I knew how to play piano. By ear, though, I actually can play a lot of Silent Night. Actually, I could. I don't know if I still can. By ear. Tap it out very simply, nothing fancy. You know, no like maestro level here. So I want to go ahead and spray my transfer before the paste dries, just so it'll make my cleanup easier. So I just have, all I have sitting here, if anybody's wondering, I have like, I took, you know those like sticky shower mats that have like the suction cups? I have one sitting here on top of like the shower, the rug for when you get out of the shower. And then I just spray it down. I started doing this like for my workshops because it makes cleanup easier. And it kind of moves the water away, limits how soaked the pad gets. And I'm spraying both sides and just gonna let that sit there. Now, I know this is no surprise, but obviously I gotta splotch again. Okay, so while this is drying, being it's elevated, when I turn it over, I don't have to worry about messing that up. Hopefully, of course it is me, so who knows. While I get started on our other pattern. So what's great about this, these boards, again, they're double-sided. Let's say you have it sitting up on a shelf or like a table somewhere or near it. Oh, this would look really pretty, like if you had a tiered tray and have it sitting beside there. Both sides are going to be showing. Or even if it's leaning up against something, you could turn it on a whim. An alternative, and I almost did this for tonight, was I was going to put like a fall. Yeah, I just glue that to try to get those no-seams off of there. Do that for a little, so that I hopefully don't get bubbles under this one. Anyways, you could do that with like, I mean, it could be Christmas and an Easter one you do. So your one board will have two purposes. Put it away and bring it back out for Easter, for example. Those are really nice, especially, like I probably wouldn't do Easter, to be honest with you. I'd do it at like a Halloween and a Christmas. So you wouldn't have to put it away after Halloween. You'd already have it ready to go. Okay. So again, this is a new transfer. This is our Peace on Earth. This is our B size transfer. It's an 8 by 10. And again, I know I keep saying this, but I can't emphasize it enough. When you have a transfer like this, you don't have to use the whole thing, even though it looks like it's one complete transfer. Like, what else are you going to do with it? But then what you see, I don't know, anything really. Maybe you just want peace on earth, mercy mild. Maybe you just want the words peace because you like it. You want it on a small board. The floral across here, the holly, I would think that is. Another thing, I want to make sure, what I'm doing right now is just making sure I put this right side up. So when it's standing, they're both going in the same direction. this I could see like on a small round framing it, and then maybe you have like love or holly. Wouldn't that be pretty? You could, because we do have transfers that are the alphabet, you know, they're fonts, so you could put out holly. It's not really holly leaves, I guess, but you get my point. Okay. Oop, that looks a little crooked. All right, see how nicely that came up once from having waxed that? I'm gonna put this down just a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't like late last week.
Okay. Y'all, my dog's still outside. Hold on, I gotta tell my son. Hey, Jacob!
What?
Lulu needs to be let in. She loves to be outside, and it's even raining. And now I hear her barking. She's ready to come in. Okay, so this one, we're gonna use a few more colors. So I'm gonna do the Peace on Earth and Mercy Mild, and this is our Shimmer Frost. And then I have Shimmer Crimson and our Shimmer Spruce. So if you haven't figured it out, I want it to be sparkly, okay? And then I also have our Shimmer Shadow, and maybe what I'll do is do Peace and Mercy in the silver and On Earth and Mild in this. So that's what I'm gonna do. Put that aside. I'm gonna do this green first. All right. So I'm gonna use this on the end of my multi-tool. This is smaller than our mini squeegee. It's about half the size of the mini squeegee. And I'm gonna work from the bottom. I'm just doing the leaves. The berries I wanna do in red. Okay. And the Shimmer Frost, or the Shimmer Paste, you can feel that, when you're doing this, you can feel that grit, if you will, when you're spreading it on. Now, generally, our shimmer colors, they take a little longer to dry because they are with the frost in there. They're a little bit thicker. And so, like I said, yeah, they take a little bit longer to dry. So when you're working around them or whatever, you want to make sure you give it enough time or use your drying tool. So I'm going around here. I want to do all the green. I guess the one good thing, you got a little bit of work time because it does take longer to dry from one side to the next. Now, just to err on the side of caution, I probably don't need to do this. I'm not going to do it, but I'll tell you. I would normally pull this back, okay, the peel and reveal. I guess I should show you what I mean, huh? So I'm just going to lift this up. So, I don't know, can you guys see that? And I'm just going to gently lay it back down. And I'm going to use this is on our detail tool. I'm just going to use this to kind of literally flatten where the berries are because I'm going to put my paste on. I probably, if I know I'm working fast enough, so to speak, I would go ahead and do the berries and then peel it back that first time. I got a wrinkle up there, so just to help minimize the back and forth with that. Okay. Here's our Shimmer Crimson. Oh, it's so yummy. And this is just going to take, obviously, a very scant amount of paste. It's almost like punching it through that little circle. So again, these transfers, they are made, there's the sticky side, and it's a silk screen mesh. So the mesh is where it's cut out, where you don't see the blue sticky, is your pattern. And it's, my dogs are playing now, isn't that nice? And the pattern it's like a very fine silk screen. Very similar to the old style of shirt making, because now everybody does the sublimation and whatnot. how pretty. I see a little bit of green paste there. I'll just leave it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just working my way down the transfer, okay? I'm sorry, like I said, my dogs are playing. Okay. So this is the Shimmer Shadow, and on here I'm going to do On Earth and Mercy Mild, I think in this. And then the Peace and Mercy I'm going to do in the Shimmer Frost. So we're having all kinds of colors on here. So when you jump on, please say hello. Let me know where you're from, if you've ever been here before. And love it if you would sprinkle the video, the tutorial, the project. Oh, that's so pretty. I mean, it's pretty just even spread out here. So Peace and Mild. Or Mercy. Gosh, I keep wanting to say mild instead of mercy. So I don't know if I'll put a bow on this. It seems like every time that is a thing. Part of me, I'm kind of thinking not. But we'll see when we're closer to the end. If anybody's got any thoughts on that they want to share as we get further, as I keep on working along, feel free to share. So same thing, I want to pull this back because I want to release that paste. I know I do that. You can't help. It's like when you look at this as you're working and it's kind of this hot blotchy mess, you think, no way, that's going to look good. And then you lift it up and you see the image underneath and you're like, what? At least I am. I'm like, what? I'm going to reuse this one. Okay, and going back to the Shimmer Shadow now to do the On Earth. So as far as the consistency in general of your paste, you want them to be like a very thick, like Greek yogurt. That's pretty much the best consistency for them. Now your shimmers are going to be a little bit thicker and gritty because of the shimmer itself. All right. But the nice thing is, because once they open, especially like these I've had a long time because I don't use Shimmer Shadow, the shimmers constantly. I just kind of went down on my leaf a little bit there, but that's all right. Not the end of the world there. And you can add, to thin them out, distilled water, okay? Especially if you're going to thin it out. If you're going to thin it out while it's right in the drawer, if it's sticky, use distilled water because it's distilled and you don't want to introduce like icky stuff into your paste because like sour cream and yogurt, it could potentially get mold on it, okay? So don't put water in there. Now, if you want to put it on like a little tray or dish and thin it out like you would if you were going to actually paint with it, which I considered for the frame here, you can use whatever kind of water, that's fine. So I wanted to make sure I shared that with you guys so you didn't go, you know, all crazy. So I have like my little bottle here and it says distilled, so I know. The other bottle that I've been using is, it's one of those like pressure bottles. I remember the first time I opened it, I'm like, what the heck am I looking at here? Okay, so I want to peel this back again to loosen the black. What are you guys thinking? Can you see that? Oh, all right. Show me some hearts if you're liking how this side's coming out thus far. Okay, so now we're going to do on the bottom here the same thing that we did on the top. Alrighty. Excuse me. So this other bottle, this one here, it's got like those like airbags in there. So it, when you pump it, it kind of creates a pressure, and even when you take your hand off, it's going to continue to spray for a moment. It's great for spraying the transfers and stuff to give that little bit of pressure. Now, as far as cleaning your transfers, I mean, I don't even have to put this in the sink if I don't want to. I could spray it and use my board eraser, one of these, and just wipe it down. And some of the colors are going to stain the blue. That's perfectly fine. The biggest thing you want to worry about is getting all the paste out of that silk screen, okay? Because if you let paste dry in there and then you go to use it again, your paste isn't going to be able to push through that. Makes sense, right? So these transfers are advertised, if you will, to last you about 12 uses. I have some that I've used twice that number at least. The better you take care of them, the better they're going to be to you and last longer. So again, that key is making sure when you are cleaning them that you get that paste out of the mesh silk screen. That's your number one priority. So a lot of times, especially like if I'm using shimmer colors, because they are that gritty and they're a little bit harder to clean out of the mesh in general, because that makes sense, right? It's gritty. I like to put them in my sink and use my, you know, that's an official word, by the way, my spray hose. Now this time I didn't lift it up. I'm just going to go right into doing my berries on here. So yeah, I wanted this side. I considered going like with the trendy, like the blues and greens, but then I decided, you know what? We're talking about Oh Holy Night. You know, this is like musical, very classic. So I decided to stick with more traditional classic Christmas colors. That was my inspiration, if you will. So, again, with cleaning the transfers, I would not suggest using hot water because, one, it could potentially limit how sticky your transfer is going to be again, because it does get sticky after washing and drying. It's going to get sticky again. But it may also, and I've experienced this, so I'm speaking from experience because I'm one of those people, I have asbestos hands and I don't always realize how hot I've got something going. And, but it will shrink your transfer. It doesn't really warp it, but it like I went to go put one back down and I'm going to pull this up and it was like smaller than the paper that it had been on. Oh my gosh, you guys. Look at this. Look. Is that not, it's just so simple. What do you think? I love it. Okay, so now show me some hearts if you're liking what you're seeing. All right, so this is, remember earlier when I said I touched the frame? But it's no biggie because I have a remedy for that. The key is to always have a remedy. Most people don't know when you're crafting and you're creating and you have something in mind. And if you don't get it accomplished or it doesn't land exactly where you thought it was going to as you're working through it, nobody knows that. They don't. People looking at it, they're just going to admire your creativity and the beautiful piece of art, because that's what it is, you know, that you did. They're not going to know. They're just going to love it. I keep on touching the dirty transfer here. That's why I keep getting it on my hands. So right now I'm just, again, I'm spraying my second transfer to loosen that paste in there until I can get to cleaning it. Yeah, there's people who don't put them in the sink and that's fine. I usually do more times than not, unless it's something that was just one single color and an easy color to clean. I'll just wipe it down, or the smaller ones. Okay, so what I'm doing now, oh, I got paint. My phone was almost dead, is I'm gonna dry this because it's, remember I told you that the shimmer colors do take longer to dry, so that we can put our other color down on here. So if anybody wasn't here right at the beginning, I had mentioned that I would, when I'm all done with this, I'll take a picture of our completed project, both sides, and post that in the comments. Or I'll probably just do a separate post, because if I post like where I did the invite, the event, I can't edit it and put a picture right up in the body of it, it has to be in the comments. So I think what I'll do is I'll probably create a new post with the finished product. That's what you'll see in the picture. And I'll include the link for all the products that I've used for here. And if you're interested in any of it or all of it, doesn't matter, you'll just click that link and it'll take you right to the cart with these items in it. And then you can edit it to whatever, you know, you're like, well, I just want the board, or I just want the, that's fine. You got paste, or you already have a surface you're thinking you'd like to put this on, go for it. Just get the transfers. My point is you can do, or maybe you don't want these colors. Take these ones off and go in the, under the tab that has all the paste colors, pick out ones you like. Okay? So this green is nice and dark, which I wanted, but I didn't want black because I'm putting the shimmer for the words. And because I'm going right on top of this again, I got to make sure this is dry, because if I put my adhesive for my other transfer on here, I don't want it to pull up this paste that we've already done. Okay, give that a minute to kind of cool back down. All right, and maybe put the lid on this. And so this, that was so pretty. I love it, love it, love it. I'm going through the wipes tonight. Normally I don't go through this many. So as you jump on, please say hello. And feel free to share. So I got started in Chalk Couture because obviously I like to craft. And I was making products to sell for shows and whatnot, along with my furniture that I do. And so I came across this, I found this, literally, I found Olive. Just like, you know, any of you that are on here watching. And I'm like, and I'd never heard of it before, a year ago. The company's been around for 5 years officially. But I'd never heard of it before. I consider myself pretty crafts savvy, but apparently there's so many different things out there. But anyway, so I saw Olive and I watched it and I was intrigued. And I'm like, what are they talking about this transfer? What's this? And what really caught my eye was as the person was spreading it, I'm like, okay, that looks interesting, you know, huh? And I think that was about the part that I first saw, like when I came across it, they were already started and had paste spread all over the, I'm doing this just to kind of test it, make sure nothing comes up. A little paranoid. I haven't done a lot with layering myself, so. So anyways, when she peeled that back, magic. It was love. There was like boom, boom, hearts coming out of my eyes. I was like, what was that? So then I started, she was just finishing the live at that point, and I waited until it posted. Had to go back. I'm like, wait a minute. And so it took, I don't know, a couple weeks into it, and I was watching more of it, and I'm like, gosh, you know, I got to try that. So I ordered a couple, and I had some like off-brand paste already that I was using for other purposes, but the idea was the same. And so I ordered a couple transfers, tried them out, and I was like, oh my God, the paste wasn't as good as this. That's just being honest with you. But and it was just, like I said, it was some just off-brand, whatever. And I was like, shoot. And then when I started learning about if you're a designer, because they'd be like, oh, I'm an independent designer with Chalk Couture. I'm like, ooh, you make transfers? No, that's not it. It is direct sales. So anyways, when I found out what the discount was like and everything, I'm like, well, why would I pay $10 for something if I could pay $6, right? So that's why I became a designer. And I was so intrigued with everything in the product, and obviously tried more products, obviously. And it's like, hey, I need to share this with other crafty people. And the nice thing is, even if you're not crafty, you can do this. Can you butter toast? Have you ever spread drywall mud? Anything like that. You can chalk, just saying. Okay, so I fuzzed that second transfer I have it on here ready to go. You could see our other one through there. And I'm going to do the Shimmer Shadow. Red would look pretty too. Ooh, should I do red? Or leave it with the black? Come on. I'm going to give you 5 seconds if you have an opinion. Black or red? Do, 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 do. Or the Shimmer green. Otherwise, I'm going with the black. Gosh, oh, now I'm having a hard time. No, we're gonna stay with the black. I'm not seeing any comments, so I don't know if anybody. I know there's a couple people on anyways, but I don't know if anybody's commenting. So if you are, I'm not seeing them, unfortunately. So if you did vote or have an opinion on the color, I apologize because I couldn't see it. So putting this yummy Shimmer Shadow over this. Remember earlier I mentioned like when I saw the lady the first time I saw it, this is about where she was in her project, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Looks like a hot mess. I think my grandchild could do that. They can. They can. That's the great part. There's a few key points. You want to make sure your transfer is well adhered to whatever surface you're doing. Okay, let me get this little tool is nice for grabbing if you're like in this area. Oh, guys. Oh, look how pretty. I love it. Let me move this. And then I'll get back to telling you what I was going to tell you. I just want to make room on here for my third transfer. Not very often I use 3 transfers on one project. You guys, look. What do you think? Show me some hearts if you love it. I love it. I love it. I'm sending hearts. There. Look at, imagine that I got paste on me. Beautiful. Okay, so what am I going to do now? Because you know I don't just stop with anything. I want this to dry, but while it's drying, I'm going to take my little pointy detail tool, and I'm just going to see if I can scrape some of that off where there was that air bubble. Normally I wouldn't worry about it except for the lines. I don't think it's going to work. It's pretty dry in there. That's all right. And so when I was saying about some of the big points when chalking your surface, you want to make sure it's clean. Okay, that's why this bubble is here, or this bleed right there. Okay, because even though it looked like my transfer was all the way down and that my board was clean, I probably had some dust or something there from where I sanded it, and I should have did like what I did on the other side was blow it off with my dryer, but I didn't. And so it leaves that little air bubble. So when I started pushing the paste, the air bubble was really evident. And because it was that mesh, it went through the mesh and underneath where it wasn't supposed to. Okay. So clean surface, press it down really well. Make sure it's totally adhered. You have no bubbles. That's the first step. Then when you start to spread your paste, don't overdo it. You want to push it firmly through the mesh screen, because that's why it's a transfer, right? You have this transfer here. We're pushing it through onto the surface. We're transferring that pattern down. If you're using multiple colors, you want to peel and reveal, kind of start at the top or whatever works for you. Do a section, then smooth it back with your fingers and keep moving down. You don't smooth the section you already did. You just kind of let that rest there. And then as you peel it, secure your surface and peel. You don't want it to come up, especially if the transfer's sticking really well. You don't want that to come up with it. This particular surface is pretty heavy. It would take a lot for it to come with it. but I still, out of habit, put it down. Here I did 2 colors, so I made sure the first color was totally dry before putting this down, okay? And really that's it. You don't have to put tons of paste on. Scrape off any extra. Whoop, and move on. Okay, so what do you guys think? I love that. Now I will, for me personally, I probably, in hindsight, being that I did choose to use the green underneath there, which I'm not butthurt about that, I may have gone with either the, I probably would have gone with the red on top of it for the Oh Holy Night, just for a bigger, but I think this looks fantastic. So what am I going to do now as that's drying? I'm taking my sanding sponge, and on the frame here where I had some paste, and I would have done this even if I didn't get paste on it. I'm going to sand it to try to get some of that paste off. Okay. Like that. There was our other side. And I got some here. And then I'm going to use my wipe to just kind of get some more of that dust off there. And I want to finish drying this because I want to do a little bit of, you know, distressing, antiquing, vintagey, farmhouse, whatever the word is we want to use, we'll use on the board itself. Okay, let me move this. And because that shimmer frost is still not too bad. Most of it's dry. Oh, here it is. I didn't spray my Oh Holy Night transfer. This would make a great Christmas gift. Anybody out there think they should be gifted mine? Right now, most stuff I'm doing, I'm making for shows. I have a couple shows coming up. And then anything that's left, I'll probably do like auctions. That would be like, I apologize, my husband was calling. He works like a weird afternoon shift, so he's probably on his way home. Let's see if I made it home. All right, let me have a quick drink. Okay, so I'd already sanded that. Gosh, I love them both. Actually, if I was to be completely honest, and I like it, I am really happy with it. In hindsight, I may have done black and then the shimmer spruce for the green. It doesn't matter. I could do it all the ways. So I like it all. That's my problem. It's not a problem. It's a good problem to have, right? All right. So if you've been with me before on any of these, you know how much I love these distress paints by Tim Holtz. I'm going to be loading them into my Amazon shop too. So if you're interested in them, you can just, don't ask me why I'm putting this on the wet one instead of a dry one, but I'm me. And this is essentially a stencil brush, but there we go. I like using it for this because it gives me a lot of good control. So I'm just getting a little bit on there. And if you can see, I just kind of lightly from the edge working in. And this is just going to help give it that distressed look that so many of us love. And I'm going in towards the project so it really catches on that edge of the wood, the frame. I'm not pressing really hard, just kind of letting the brush do the work. And you could do this though for as light or as heavy as you want, okay? And then I'm just gonna, because I want some on the inside edge too. I'm going out. And I'm going to put some right on the board too. So do you guys like this? Do you guys hear? Let me know if you like that distressed extra look. And you don't have to do it. This is, if you do this project, you're like, no, I like it all, you know, nice and crisp and clean, the brown. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. You can see I haven't dabbed down any more of this distress paint on that cloth. I'm just lifting some up. Okay, and now I want to go a little bit right on the board, and I'm going more on the edges, okay, and heavier in the corners for that like shadowy, like this has been sitting here a while. And what I like about doing this, like with the antiquing or whatever you want to call it, the dry brushing, is it for me, for my eye and what I like, and it's kind of, you know, the thing too. I've always liked doing this. Is it just like breaks it down, you know, even though, yes, we want this brand new piece of, and I'm doing this very lightly and it's catching on the grain of the wood. It's like we want this new thing, but we don't want it to look brand spanking new. And this gives it that loved look, but you still know what you got. Just want a little bit more down in that corner. Okay, see that? And it's very, I don't think with the bright light you could tell quite as much, but how that kind of breaks it down. We're going to do the same thing over here because why not, right? And you don't have to use black. You could use like a dark brown. You don't even have to use this distress paint. You can use paste that's been watered down. You can use regular paint that's been either watered down. The key again is use like a white stiff brush, so like a stencil brush, or just a white paint brush, you know, like the chip brushes. That's usually what I use more times than not. But, you know, like this, or, you know, like your typical flat white brush that you would use for painting. And make sure you pounce off any excess paint, because again, it's easier to build it up than to take it off. If you, sorry, my husband keeps on calling. Like, dude, I told you I was doing a live. But anywho, to paint over it, like in a color, like say this brown, and just take it from there. So again, I'm kind of going up into the corners and the sides. And here I'm pressing a little more because I don't have much in the brush. And then very lightly, very light hand. You really can't see it, especially on the brown. But it just like seems to, and then I want to do a little bit on the sides here. Okay. Okay, so there we go. See the red on there and a little bit of shimmer? All of our colors on here were shimmered. And it's so cool when you feel it. And there's the Oh Holy Night. I might add a little bit more of the black going across here, the antiquing. But so this was our project tonight. Again, this was a 9x12 box frame from Chalk Couture. It's double-sided. You don't have to do both sides, but you can. It's better utilization of your surface. We used on the front here, Forest, a brand new color for this season. And it's not a shimmer one on this. And then we did a little bit of dry brushing antiquing on there. Okay, so again, I'll take a picture of this. I'll post that in a separate post along with the cart link to my shop that has these items in it, and then you could edit it any way you want. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll be posting tomorrow for tomorrow's project, and not sure what it is yet, to be honest with you. It's like whatever trips my trigger when I go in there and jumps out at me like, me next. Okay. Thanks. Have a good evening. Take care. Good night.